So just a little bit about myself. My name is Peter Kurjanowicz. I'm the Senior Director of Growth here at Everflow. I've been here for about 6 years. Specifically, I've been coordinating the launch of Everflow Pay and working to develop the team there. And we did launch the product in October of last year, in case anyone was wondering. So here's what we're going to cover during this webinar. How Everflow Pay works with invoices. We're going to talk about how to onboard partners and how to pay them, and how our tax features work, and then what lies ahead in the roadmap. And then we'll do a quick Q&A session. I anticipate this webinar to take probably about a half hour, just in case anyone is curious. Okay, so first things first, how to set up Everflow Pay. So number one, there's different ways to actually set it up. You can obviously contact someone at Everflow and we can help you get it set up. Another really good way is to just go into the billing section, and actually there'll be a little apply now button right here if you actually want to join and add it to Everflow Pay to your account. And just as a side note, that this is a free product. There's no additional fees to add this. The only fees that we charge are just transaction fees, and either those can be paid by you or they can be paid by the payee. And we'll get into that in a second. So really, where Everflow Pay starts is really when you're talking about default billing settings. So if I get a control center and then this billing tab over here, it really starts by setting up the default billing settings at the partner level. And then this kind of enables the whole process, which really streamlines your payments. So first you would set up a frequency and then select the day of the month. The monthly and the first are some of the most popular settings, because what this basically means is all your invoices will generate on the first of the month, and then that'll bring in data from the whole previous month. So if we're talking about March 1st, all your invoices generating for everything in February. That's what this setting would mean. And they'll do that every single month. We'll look through and generate invoices. And there's a bunch of different payment cycles here. And just as a side note, this is just the default settings that your partners will take when they first come on board. You can always set those at the individual partner level as well. So these aren't set in stone. You can always edit them at the partner level. If you say, hey, this partner is generating a lot of payout this month, we actually want to switch them to a more a faster cycle, you can switch them specifically to weekly if you go in and edit their account. And I'll get into editing the partner settings as well. I'll show you guys that. And then you'd select the payment method. So in this case, you would want to select Everflow Pay. And another thing about these default billing settings that makes them unique to Everflow Pay, because it's fully integrated, what we can also do is when partners sign up for the first time and join Everflow, if you have the default payment method being Everflow Pay, that will actually be set on their account automatically. And that's the only payment method that does that. The other ones won't do that, because we typically require that they input more information before it's actually set as active. With Everflow Pay, we don't, because we're collecting that information later. And we'll go through how that process works with the payees as well. Then you can turn on auto invoice generation. This is what enables the invoices to be generated on this frequency. So what you would do is set the start date. Basically means what do you want to pull into the first invoice generation cycle. So for example, if you know that you paid all invoices up to January 31st manually yourself, you're going to want to set this to February 1st. If you know that, hey, I still haven't paid January yet, you want to set this to January 1st, for example. So this basically just brings in all of the data to whatever start date you set. So if I set this back to like July, for example, where it basically assumes that you haven't paid out anyone since July. Okay, that's kind of how this works. You can also set a delay. I would say the majority of our clients do not set a delay on their invoices being generated, just because they want to be able to see on the first, what do I have outstanding? The reason that you would set a delay, and some people do, is because, say they have like a clawback period of a few days, they can set a delay here to say a week, or they can even do custom 3 days, where basically none of the invoices are generated yet until after 3 days. And that gives your finance team or your affiliate team time to actually reject sales that shouldn't be counted. When there's no delay, they're all generated, and then you can still reject them later and then just sync up all the invoices. So that I would say is a preferred way to do it, but a lot of people do also use delay. Another thing to set is a threshold. So when there's a threshold here, basically what it means is, say I said $100. What it means is every month we look at, did this affiliate generate more than $100, or what's their running balance? Is it more than $100? And then we will generate the invoice for them if it is on the first. So if a partner, for example, sent $10 in December, sent $50 in January, and then sent at least $41 or more than $40 in February, then we'll generate an invoice for all 3 of those months, okay, combined. If they say generate more than $100 in February alone, we're going to generate just an invoice for February then. Okay, that's kind of how the threshold works. The default payment settings. So you can set these are just the net terms. So how quickly is the affiliate expecting to be paid? And then you can choose to hide or show invoices to partners. Most people just show the invoices because they want to be transparent. You can also enable a VAT percentage as well. This is more for European clients. We'll leverage that type of feature. I'm not actually going to save this, but if I saved it, actually, I can save it. So this is what it'll look like once it's saved. You can always go back in here and edit it. It's just another side note with this. The second it's applied is when it will start applying this to new affiliates that are joining. So if you edit this, it'll only start applying it to people that join after you edit it. Anyone before, you have to edit manually. Okay. The partner restricted payment settings are another thing to set. So these are basically just saying that partners cannot be paid in any other way except for Everflow Pay. That's what this means. If you select more than one here, it means that they can actually log into their account and they can actually select, I want to be paid with a gift card, right? And that might throw things off at the end of the month, because now you have to go back and tell them, no, you can't be paid with a gift card, or you can't be paid with Bitcoin. You have to be paid with Everflow Pay. So that's how all the default billing settings work. And don't worry, if you have a bunch of partners that don't have any of these settings set yet, that's not a problem. You can actually leverage the bulk edit tool right here. And how this works is I can basically select all partners, and then I can go through and set those exact settings that I just had. So payment method is Everflow Pay. I can set the monthly on the first, for example. So I can set all of this right here, and then just review and apply it to everyone in bulk. So that you can do even if you don't have the default settings set right now. And then, so once this is set, what you can do here is, if I click Michael Jordan, for example, is you can see all of their settings here, and you can edit this per partner as well. So you can say, hey, I don't want this. I want this person to be paid weekly or bi-monthly if you want. Instead of monthly. And then you can edit all this invoice generation, everything at the partner level as well. So those are just the default settings that get taken to all partners. Most people are okay with that, but we do have people changing them if they want to pay people more quickly as well. And then on top of this, with Everflow Pay, if you click over in the details section, you can actually see information about their status too, which is something that we offer with Everflow Pay because it's a more fully integrated solution where you can actually see this. You don't need to log into Everflow Pay to actually see any of the, if they're payable or not, and then what payment method they selected, and all this other information about their account as well here. As another note, you can request the outstanding balance too on an account whenever you want, how much is outstanding for them right now. So the next step here is showing you guys the partner login. So say I were to log in as, I think this is the right login, as Michael Jordan. So I actually have that up right here. So when I log in for the first time as a partner, they're actually going to see a bar here. It doesn't exist because I've already input the information, but they will see a notification. It's a red bar that says, hey, you're not ready to be paid yet. Hit here to configure your payment method. When they hit that, it will actually take them directly to the company settings billing section, and they'll actually be able to see that they need to do something right here. And when they click enter their payment info, it'll actually bring them up this screen. Okay. And this is where they're basically inputting all the information I just showed you in the other in the card, plus a lot more. So there's federal tax information that we collect. And when this form is submitted, we're actually verifying that against IRS records. And I'll show you where inside of Everflow Pay you can see if they're verified or not. And then we're also collecting their bank account information as well. And depending on what routing number they put, we'll actually bring up their bank. So it kind of helps them verify that it's correct. And then this routing number has only ACH available, but you'll actually, if there's a wire here, you'll actually also be able to see that there's a wire here. And we do show them how long it takes for the transaction to happen and then what the fees are. If you guys are paying the fees as clients, then this will show no fee. It'll just show how long it takes to get there. And vice versa. So if there's ACH and wire here, and say you're paying for ACH and they're paying for wire, it'll show no fees for ACH and $25 for wire. Okay. And then vice versa. If for some reason they were paying ACH and you were paying wire. So that's kind of, we're very transparent about how the payment method works here. And then you can also, they can change their wire, their address here of the wire and everything like that. So what we do as well is after this form is submitted, there's a test transaction that happens, and that gets sent to their bank account. And then after that small amount gets sent, they need to log in and then verify the amount. Once they complete all of this, you'll actually see their status switch from payable no to payable yes. And the other part that you can see that in is actually in the invoices section too. So you can see their status here as a line item in the actual invoice. So when you're going to actually pay partners, if this person is payable or not, well before they're actually paid. So you can always follow up with them and basically ask them and make sure that they're inputting their banking information correctly. At the invoice level, so actually let me go back here. So how this all connects with the Everflow Pay dashboard is all the invoices are generated. You can see all their statuses. You can see the start and end date of the invoice. Everything is here. And then you can click Pay with Configured Method. And what that's going to do is actually send the pay request to Everflow Pay. So hitting Pay here doesn't actually pay them. It just generates another approval inside of Everflow Pay that your finance team has access and they have the final approval. And I'll show you that dashboard in a minute. So say I were to hit Pay here, which we've already done, you would then see the status inside the invoice as well, that this is pending. You can see the submission time, which was back in November. And then on the other side as well, in the partner account, they can also see, so this is obviously, we're not going back far enough, but if I were to go back to November, they would actually see this pending inside of their on their end as well. So they can see how much they're slotted to receive. They can download their the invoice PDF as well from here, and they can see any other payments. We've obviously been doing some testing in here. So this is on the affiliate side, what they can see as well. And then you can see it here. And then once we do that, you'll actually see inside of Everflow Pay that transaction pop up in this transactions. This is just the last 30 days. Obviously, it's not going to pop up here because this is from November. But if I were to go back to November, you would actually see it right here as well. And we have this require approval status. So this is not approved to go out yet. What you would click here is the three dots and then click approve. They can also do this in bulk too, if they were to click here and then bulk approve payments as well, if you were to send them in bulk to Everflow Pay as well. And like everything you can see, they can pretty much see and do anything from here as well. You can see the total amount paid, and then the transaction fees. If you guys are covering the transaction fees, then what you'll actually see is this is 25, and then the total amount paid would be 28. So it'll just come out of basically the total amount that you're paying instead of the total amount that the affiliate's making. And that's how the fees work. On the dashboard too, there's a lot of important information. So from here, you can basically see how much is available inside of your account. You can see how much is pending. So there's a hold period. Typically it's 72 hours. that can be reduced depending on how long you've worked with Everflow Pay and how well we know you and all of that kind of stuff. That's kind of like an anti-fraud thing. There's also, you can see the total amount here. You will also see an insufficient funds amount here. So another thing that's unique and kind of cool about Everflow Pay is you don't actually have to top up your wallet or have money in your wallet if you pay all the invoices from Everflow. That'll actually send them all here, and you'll see an insufficient funds amount here, and that'll be the total amount that you need to top up to basically clear all those invoices. And that'll take into account fees and all of that stuff. So that's something that's kind of unique and cool about Everflow Pay is you can kind of almost wait until you're ready to pay everything, and then you can top up. You can also see the bank account information. So this is how to actually fund your wallet. So you would send funds to this bank, account number, routing number right here, and that would actually fund your wallet. You can also see statements here, and you can download them. You can also add users. So you can add more users straight from here. You can also see the users as well in here as well. So, and here's all your company details. It's basically the same information from the dashboard, just all in one spot. Another thing that you can see here is in the Payees tab. So this is powerful because you can get a good high-level view of all of the payees and their different statuses. So you can see if they're payable or not, what the reason is, and then you can also see if their tax information has been verified, all from here as well. And you can, I think, you can override the payable status if you want, and you can also download a W-9 form for them, and you can also download, I think, in bulk W-9 as well. So you can export bulk W-9 forms. Right now, there's no signature integration. So if you wanted to get these signed, you would just have to bulk download them and actually send them out to the payees for signature. I think a signature feature will come eventually, depending on if people want that or not. So that's kind of how all the tax stuff works. And then at the end of the year, to generate the 1099s, you will be able to download a CSV. It's not currently in this UI yet, just because we, at the end of for this year's taxes or last year's taxes, we just generated them manually for the clients that were using it. But we're going to add this to the UI because by the end of the year, there will be a significant amount of people using it, and we don't want to go through and have to generate all of those CSV files with all the 1099 information manually for each client. So that will be likely in the company details, where you can just download all the CSV files, or download a CSV of all the 1099 info, which is basically their TIN number and then how much was paid for that year. So I know that was a lot of information. I will pause for a second and see if anyone has questions. Okay. Cool, no questions. So the next thing that we wanted to go through is a roadmap. So I think it's important for you guys to know what's coming up. So as I mentioned, the tax information, the tax report being downloadable in the UI will be done very shortly. And then we're also allowing for a little bit more fee configuration at the partner level. So right now it's just set to whether you pay the ACH or wire or vice versa. Some people wanted flexibility over the fee configuration being at the partner level, where you can actually say, this partner, I want to pay the wire fee, but this other partner, I want them to pay the wire fee. So that will be, that's in development right now and will be coming out shortly. In terms of the things that are coming up next, we will have international payments. And what that means right now is just domestic only payments inside of the US, so US bank account. We will have international payments so you can pay your partners overseas. That's coming in the next 2 to 3 months. We are also going to have a brand-based reconciliation feature coming out, or feature set coming out, which will basically allow you to see if you're managing multiple brands on your Everflow account and multiple partners, you'll be able to basically see which partners that you owe money to for different brands, and let you to basically see that across all of the brands that you work with, so you can see how much each partner is running with each brand. And that's the core of the feature. There's going to be a lot of other risk management features built into that, but that's coming in the near future. We're also going to have a QuickBooks integration that's being developed right now. And there's also going to be a collection of payee tax and bank information in the sign-up form itself. So right now, as you saw, that the payee actually has to go through and create their account first before going and inputting all their bank information and tax info. We're actually working on building a way for people to input that into the actual sign-up form, so they don't need to log in again and do something else. Once they're approved, they're ready to go, basically. We are also working on a NetSuite integration that's in the pipeline, and then there's also going to be a W-9 upload in the pipeline as well. Okay, I will stop sharing my screen, and then if there's any Q&A or questions, I'm happy to answer them at this point.